nerds, welcome to Geekbeast, part of the Geekish Network. This is your daily rundown of geek news from geeks like you. I am your host, Summer Punch, and with me we've got Chuck
What's up, everyone?
and Syntell.
Yo, what's up? Mama's back. Welcome
Hey,
back.
hey.
It's always good to see your face.
I miss you guys as always. All right, let's just get straight into
Okay.
the news today. We're going to kick it off with some international news, not necessarily geek related, but something that we just feel like we should acknowledge and touch on because whenever crazy shit happens to brown people and Asians around the world, like it's just, it's in our blood. We gotta bring it up and acknowledge it. And so I'm sure you guys have all heard by now the tensions that are going on in Palestine between the Israelis and Palestinians. Conflict between the Israelis and Palestinians have boiled over this week into absolutely chaotic scenes, a lot of death, a lot of suffering, escalating rapidly into one of the worst rounds of violence between the two sides in the last several years, which is really saying a lot for those two. In an already tense situation prompted by moves to evict Palestinian families from their ancestral homes near the old city in Jerusalem, exploded into one of the holiest sites in the known city, known to Muslims as the Noble Sanctuary and to Jews as the Temple Mount. Israeli police entered Ask Mosque and clashed with Palestinians outside the sacred site, firing stun grenades while Palestinians threw stones in response. We're seeing some just like absolutely crazy videos coming out on social of women, children, families getting evicted from their homes, buildings being demolished, missiles being intercepted in the air, just scenes of chaos, people praying, like actively in prayer during the month of Ramadan, which is a holy month and a very meaningful celebration for all Muslims. And they're literally being thrown like stun grenades at them while they're mid prayer. So I've seen like videos of little boys like just breaking down in the streets because his father is being carried away. Like just it's really tough to watch, and I just feel like we got to acknowledge that.
Oh, it is horrible. It's horrible what's going on. 1,500 Palestinians face expulsion from Jerusalem. 200 protesters have been injured. 9 children have been killed. There needs to be something going on here to fix this. It's not like the Palestinians have a force that can actually face Israel. Israel has one of the best air forces in the world, and they're showing their might. And you can't just push people out of the holy city, which is supposed to be a neutral ground for all 3 religions. And that the
Yeah.
fact that we're in the middle of Ramadan and one of the third most holiest sites in Islam was
It's
caught
almost
on
like they're
fire
doing
and
it on
people were praising.
purpose.
Yes, it's like we're going to go to war right now with Palestine. And this feud's been going on ever since Israel was carved out and given to the Jewish people, and it's not going to end. We need to have some resolution, and we need to set up sanctions against Israel for pushing people out of Jerusalem. You should not push these people out of Jerusalem. A lot of these people, Jewish people and Palestinians, are friends, and here it is, you're breaking them up. And people are not everybody's for this. It's kind of like if we rounded up all the black people and said, y'all have to get out of America. All the fortunes you made, everything you made, LeBron, you got to leave your house as is, and y'all have to get the hell up out of America. And you can't just push people out of that. You can't push people out of LA. You can't push people out of New York like that. There has to
It's
people
not
need to come
just
to
their
the
current
table.
homes, it's their ancestral homes that
Mm-hmm.
goes back hundreds, thousands of years, as long as they can trace their own family lineage. Um, when I was talking to you guys about this before the show, I was like, I struggle. I think our viewers have probably already picked up by now that I'm Arab, I'm Muslim. Um, I have lived in the Middle East. All of my family is in the Middle East, and I I get so riled up when I see this anti-Asian stuff going on. When I see anything, any sort of violence in America, police brutality against Black people, I just get so angry. Angry is my response. I get furious. You guys have seen it several times on the show. When I see injustice happening to other people and other races, it lights me up like none other. But when I see this stuff, I have a distinctly different response. And it's hard to come to terms with that because, and now I recognize it because last time we talked about violence against Black citizens in America, I got furious. You guys got quiet. And that's typically been the response between us, you know? And now, now I'm just trying to put words to the emotions because for some reason I just feel like tamped down, right? Like it's something that I'm used to seeing. I don't get surprised. I get surprised when other people get angry about Palestinian or violence against Palestinians and everything that they're going through. I feel uh, I feel like bewildered that people are actually like paying attention because it feels so normal to me. And I just feel defeated. You know, I don't know if I have that same fight in me because maybe I feel like I am the one experiencing that, like that beat down, you know?
When
And
Go
I don't
ahead.
know what to say about that. I just felt like it was a noticeable thing to observe about like how I respond to that.
What angers me
Well,
most is people speak about this topic and don't know anything about the history of it. Like people live there on this land. Palestinians live there. Then when the Rothschild wrote up a treaty, carved it out, and America's like, and the world was like, "Hey, we're gonna make this Israel now." And they push people off their ancestral homes, and those people are still alive. Some of those people are still alive. Some people remember. There's always gonna be animosity there, and nobody wants to practice diplomacy. You know, American Zionists aren't trying to practice diplomacy. They're trying to bring across the rapture. And we need to practice diplomacy. There needs to be some diplomacy there because the Palestinians are out armed, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, that was one of all the chaos of 2020, one of the most like heartbreaking and depressing news stories that came out that I think generally went under the radar for a lot of people, but was I think it was Bahrain's and Qatar's like official diplomatic acknowledgement of the state of Israel, and I think Egypt too. All of a sudden there was like one to two Arab nations that had formally acknowledged Israel as a state, which has a lot of implications. That means that they're now, you know, opening embassies. And it was such a devastating story because of what it meant. It just meant that the surrounding Arab nations are basically giving up on supporting Palestinians in a fight for a second state because Israel has so oppressively won the battle that there's basically no hope. And that just crushed me last year. It because it feels like if there aren't any other nations, because we know right now that Biden doesn't want to really deal with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Like that is a big thing in the news right now, is that he is just trying to avoid acknowledging and avoid trying to solve it because every American president has tried to pacify it. You know, like however you want to take that statement, every American president, it has been their problem. And it never, no matter how hard they try or what they do, it never seems to end. And I think Biden has like all but publicly acknowledged that there isn't really a solution to this problem and he just doesn't want to deal with it anymore. So Middle Eastern states acknowledging Israel as a state, the US basically giving up, being a big story this year. And then on top of that, Israel murdering Palestinian children during Ramadan. And by the way, today's last day of Ramadan. Ramadan Mubarak to all of you guys out there.
Yes.
Stay strong. I hope you guys are with your friends or family anyways.
You said something earlier that kind of struck a tone with me regarding how you really empathize when other people of color, other cultures, other people just in general, subgroups are being traumatized and there's something they have to get over, and then how you're just like, you know, rah rah, let me speak my two piece, let me show as much support as I possibly can. Um, I think that's amazing, and we absolutely need more of that. Unfortunately for me and the circles that I'm currently in and the news that I get, this just wasn't high on the news list, and that's terrible. That's horrible. It should be higher on the list. It should be so that I can be more informed. Other people that are closer in my circle can be more informed. I just went to CNN's website, and it's just like a small little thing as compared to what else is going on in the country, and also. Well, I'm on BBC looking at it now, and it's like a smaller little thing. So it's just not as big of a news deal per se, and I just think that's terrible. Because if it is in our face a lot more, like with Stop Asian Hate Crimes and Black Lives Matter, like we take up entire full blown spreads. It's all up and down my news feed. It's all up and down my social media. So I'm very a lot more aware of it. And I feel that there's other people that fall into the same category that I fall into as well. That their echo chamber is not echoing outside of the chamber. There needs to be more awareness of what's going on in the world, so that we can
And
be
let's
that person to rah rah for you and find out what's really going down. And it's just I just feel bad that I am not as well versed as I should today, even though this happened with this this has been boiling over rapidly for like the past few days, right?
yep.
Yeah, and I don't think that
John.
should like that's one of the also like the challenges with this situation is that everybody knows there's such intense history. There's so many things that happen that play into it. And I think it just straight up intimidates people because whenever it comes up, people are like, oh, I don't know what to say because I don't know like how, what to say because I don't feel informed on it.
Right.
And, honestly, you don't need to be informed. Like you just, if you're seeing people suffering out there, that's enough to be upset about. And the support that is said and the awareness that is brought to it is appreciated no matter what the knowledge base is behind it.
Right.
Yeah. And let's be honest, America doesn't like either side overall. America has a hard, long history against Jewish people, and they have a hard history against Arabs. They've always had the strong relationship between those two, and seeing them fight each other, they're just gonna watch. I kind of feel as though our infrastructure is not there to actually mitigate peace, but to actually get what's valuable in that those parts of the world, and that's oil and any natural resource. And then there's
So
their like
colonialism,
yes, imperialism,
surprise,
colonialism.
surprise.
Yeah, so because let's be honest, America has not showed love to either group outside of trying to get what they want out of them.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
You know,
All right. Well, we wanted to acknowledge that, bring it up. It feels weird being on a network where we support and lift up people of color
hmm
and minorities of all stripes, and to not acknowledge that right now. So
yeah,
back to geek news, though. Intel is using machine learning to make GTA 5, Grand Theft Auto 5, the biggest video game of all time, basically, look incredibly unsettlingly photorealistic. So Intel wants you to play a game that looks is as close to reality as possible. And one of the more immersive aspects of GTA 5 is how closely the game San Andreas approximates real life Los Angeles and Southern California. But a new machine learning project from Intel Labs called Enhancing Photorealism Enhancement, that's literally what it says, might take that realism to an unsettlingly photorealistic direction, reports Gizmodo. Chuck, I know you have thoughts on this.
oh yeah, this is really interesting. So Intel's engine, machine learning, enhancing photorealism enhancement, is taking actual photos that is gathered
Name that.
from Los
Name that.
Angeles. Somebody, because enhancement is what they say in all the TV shows. Once you enhance that photo, once you
Enhance.
enhance, it
Enhance.
magically
I wish
enhances.
pictures worked that way.
Yeah,
Like,
we all wish
create
they
more
worked it.
pixels.
Yeah, create like, and so what they're doing is reading what the game is showing us, then matching it with actual photos and from his photo collection and meshing it together to make it look real. That's
That's crazy.
scary. It's scary. It's really
So then are they going
interesting.
to port that into like GTA VR,
Imagine if
because
they
then you're
ported
just
it
in Los
into
Angeles.
real news.
I was just gonna
And
you,
they,
you beat me to it. My next question was
mm-hmm,
gonna be is like how can
yeah.
technology like that can be used in areas outside of just games, or can it be used in, or even if it can be used in games, what other game could use that type of technology?
Yeah.
Ooh, I have an answer to this one. So I'll say like more broadly how video games replicating the real world can be a benefit sometimes. Is
Mhm.
remember the news a few years ago when the Cathedral Notre Dame in Paris started like it was set on fire, some
Mm-hmm.
accident happened, and this historic site in France was destroyed like significantly, and there were no old plans for the building to remodel and rebuild those aspects of the building. However, Ubisoft, a French video game company, based one of their more recent Assassin's Creed franchise games in Paris, and they created like a to scale, like incredibly accurate 3D model of the Cathedral Notre Dame. And they rebuilt it based off of a video game simulation of the real world, and we're able to restore it. Like, that's a happy story.
So Intel can actually take their machine learning and just boom, rebuild Notre Dame. That's kind of awesome.
Let's burn down LA and rebuild it from that already happened. Just kidding.
I was thinking like, what if there was like a way that you could like see like okay, I had like a moment of nostalgia when I went home not too long ago, before the pandemic, and you know how it is when you go home, you haven't been there in a while, and there's new buildings that's been old things that you love has been torn down, everything has been changed and stuff. And I was like, man, wouldn't it be kind of cool if they had like a Google Street View at the time that I was thinking that can show you what places look like during like a certain time, so that you can always like hold on to that piece of nostalgia, or maybe I don't know, it could be used for a number of different things. And that this technology regarding Grand Theft Auto's updating their thing sounds like it could kind of like be implemented into that, maybe using photographs and stuff, so you can.
So we can see what old LA looked like when it had trolleys and trains running through it, like the Santa Monica, like Santa Monica Freeway was all trains, and the 10 was like trains, or whatever was before the train.
There's this road that's like literally just a couple blocks from my place, and it's like an oddly weird wide road that's divided by this like oddly weird division of like just grass. And I was walking around with my brother, who is a civil engineer, and he was like, oh, there used to be a trolley there. And I was like, how do you know that? Yeah, he's like, because like I already knew the history that GM had bought up all of the public transportation system in LA and then just paved over it so that everybody would drive. But I didn't realize that history. Right? Yeah, fucking GM, Jesus.
Because
and
somebody
also,
said
GM has like this crazy large, I don't know if it's an oil refinery, but it is on this like beautiful strip of beach between, I think, like Marina Del Rey and Redondo Beach. That is just like a fucking disgusting ass power plant. And I'm pretty sure that's GM's too. But yeah, I didn't know that history was literally so close to my place. It's just like a block away. And I was like, oh, that's where the trolley was. That's why they have this weirdly shaped road with this division, and doesn't make any sense.
My friend Steve has a book with the original train system in it. It's an old book he bought. He paid hundreds of dollars for it. And it has like the trace paper of the actual train system in LA, what it was. It's like, wow, we could have had a train system like Japan.
Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice?
I used to work at a spot up in Venice. This would be like really quick in Los Angeles, in Venice, and they had an original picture of what Venice looked like. I guess like maybe like in the 30s or in the 20s, and I didn't realize that a lot of those streets that were there were actual canals, and because the city Venice was really named after the Venice in Italy, because they tried to make a recreation of it, but it didn't work out. Apparently, sewage and all sorts of stuff. Well, anyway, it didn't work out, and now we have roads paved over it. But that kind of like goes back, like, can you imagine like if you throw on like your augmented reality glasses in the next 10 years, and then you're like, yo, show me what Venice looked like, in 1915, and then you're looking around and it's just like nothing but water, or you're in your old neighborhood and you look around and you see a trolley just kind of like roll by. That would just be
super cool,
amazing. That'd be really
that
dope.
sounds really lovely. Let's bring that back. There are still a few streets in Venice that have canals going through them. A couple of them are like kind of dried up, and some of them are really shallow. So you just see like a lot of like river vegetation along the edge of it through most of it. But there are a few that are just straight up little mini rivers, and it's like super nice little neighborhood. Like I'm pretty sure it's really expensive property, but it's there.
I have a friend that's a lawyer there. They spent $5 million for their place off the Venice canals, right on the beach.
I bet it's like a 1.5 bedroom, like 700
it's like
it's
like 3-bedroom loft house. It's nice.
Yeah,
but I'm not paying $5 million for it. But they did. And it's like right behind them is the canal, and they have a little boat back there that doesn't go anywhere because the canal doesn't have any water.
Yeah, I know that street. It's really nice to walk around.
But you walk out and you right there on the beach. You literally walk out onto the beach.
Hmm.
which is nice.
Yeah.
Would you either would you go on like a virtual date? Like let's just say it's 10 years in the future, right? And you swiped right. I guess that's the term. You meet somebody and you're about to go on a date and they're broke, but they're like, "Yo, I got this cool little dating thing and you're in my VR glasses and maybe we can like walk down like old time 1940s Hollywood or whatever it is." Would that be a romantic date for you? I'm trying to see like,
I mean, you're asking a nerd. I feel like that'd be amazing.
That
I
would
would
be
love
amazing. That would be an
that.
amazing
Yeah,
date. Yeah.
So
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Could you
Just
imagine
like
going
the
to the
whole like
Clifton?
date experience is like a conversation starter in itself, and then
Mhm.
like that'd just be cool.
You know how
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool
I
it'd
would-
be like even the people that's walking by, they're wearing like the old timey clothes because it's augmented
Yeah.
That'd be
realm
so
and
cool.
stuff. And
I love
yeah,
that.
that would
That's
be kind of
great.
fly.
You should make that happen.
We're gonna
Me
call it
too.
Bender. Time
Okay.
Bender.
Binder?
Bender.
VR? Yeah, Binder. VR Tinder.
Yeah.
I like it. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know how we veered from like Intel to LA history to dating on VR Tinder, but I like where it is. So, but let's move on to another story. President Biden has signed an executive order aiming to prevent future cybersecurity disasters. He did that on
Mhm.
Wednesday, implementing new policies aimed to improve national cybersecurity. The executive order comes in the wake of a number of recent cybersecurity catastrophes, just such as last week's ransomware attack that took down the Colonial Pipeline, a Microsoft Exchange server vulnerabilities that may have affected north of 60,000 organizations, not people, entire organizations, and the SolarWinds hack that compromised 9 federal agencies late last year, each of which were specifically name dropped by the White House in a fact sheet accompanying the order. And those 9 federal agencies suspect that the hack is still ongoing, by the way. So the
Yep.
executive order outlines a number of initiatives, including reducing barriers of information sharing between governments and private sector, mandating deployment of multi-factor authentication, which is just fucking do it already. Like all you have to
Right.
do is text yourself. Like
Mhm.
we should probably just ban passwords altogether and just only use that. And then like a second,
I think
it's
so.
way
I
more
think so.
secure, way easier to do that instead of remembering all these different passwords or using a
Yeah.
password manager.
Mhm.
Also mandating the Cybersecurity Safety Review Board modeled after the National Transportation Safety Board, and creating a standardized playbook for responding to cyber
Mhm.
incidences, plural.
Guess what I found out about this?
What's that?
That President Obama put forth the plan to actually strengthen cybersecurity so something like this couldn't happen, and the Congress that was up under him that was against him opposed it, and it's like, no,
Wow.
we're not going to do that.
Yep.
It costs too
He was
much
also
money.
he was also the first president to have a Twitter.
Yeah.
And he updated the website.
Yeah.
Don't know how well the Twitter thing worked
Yeah.
out, but maybe we don't want
They
to.
told him it wasn't a big enough threat. Nobody's going to attack America like that. Nobody's
Yeah, he
smart
also
enough to
created
do
a
that.
pandemic preparedness
Mhm.
division
And
of the
Yeah,
the
and
government, which
last
was also
administration threw it all
disbanded.
away. They threw it all away. They're like, we're going to F cybersecurity.
Yeah, and on the flip side, like we reviewed an article a few days ago regarding Australia's take in cybersecurity and informing the people
Mm-hmm.
about what cybersecurity is, what you can do to protect yourself, so that it doesn't seem like this foreign, weird conversation that's being held. And that's, I think, is what's happening to the American people regarding cybersecurity.
Yep.
They don't really realize how big of a problem it can be, especially in terms of it regarding to our infrastructure, our financial structure, educational institutions, medical facilities. It's numerous amounts of areas that this can get out of control.
Mhm.
And it seems like um, it seems like we're rushing to the point to try to be like, well, we got to fix all this. And I'm wondering, like, how do you feel as far as the temperature of the country and the people that are around you regarding cyber attacks and cyber terrorism? Is it something that they're concerned about? Is it something that you should be more concerned about in order to teach people? Just what's the general feel and take regarding the people that surround you in this?
You want to go first, Summer?
Yeah, I think that it
Mm-hmm.
feels like such an abstract problem that
Mhm.
cybersecurity feels like something that is handled at a much, much higher scale than an individual. So I don't think it really, like the nature of it doesn't really force people to consider it very seriously. Also, these cybersecurity hacks or the constant leaked passwords, like honestly, in the end, they don't really have a very big impact on people's daily lives. So I don't really see this issue like causing much of a stir at the individual level. I
Okay.
think this is really going to be the responsibility of the government to just do what is fucking responsible. Something that is probably never going to be that popular. It's probably not
Mm-hmm.
going to be like pushed back against,
Mm-hmm.
but it's never going to have like a wave of popular support behind it either. So it's really like the onus is on the government to actually just beef up defenses in terms of cybersecurity, because we know that our US government has like super advanced like cyber offensive divisions, but not much cyber defense. And just in the, you know, the future warfare of just like cyber warfare, like that is something that is like known to be coming. It's already happening already. And you know, the US government is constantly pretty sure they're constantly hacking other or like spying on. We know that like espionage is just like a known
Yeah.
acknowledged thing.
Right.
And the US is super advanced in that regard, but I'm pretty sure the US is like basically has zero defense. And I hope that they do something about it, because power grids going down are a thing, or elections being hacked. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're already in it.
Well,
You know,
well,
it's not on the
Yeah.
horizon. It's happening already. You know.
Right.
well. They have super defense against the wealth of the country, which is the
Mhm.
1%ers. They have a majority of the wealth of the country, and they have it against our defense. So all our military is super safe, and all the wealth in the country is super safe. Now the people, they don't give a shit about the people. Not.
Yeah, infrastructures,
Mm-hmm.
local governments. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Because
They
all it
don't really have
takes
support
is
for that.
there be a bridge where boats can go under, and the bridge lifts. Somebody hack it when cars are on top of it and kill everybody there, and that's liable
Yeah.
to happen. There's so many things that can happen, and there was a plan in place, but then we have a whole entire party. I'm not saying which one. That's supported by 70 million people. Say that's communist. Oh my God, they're going to create a cybersecurity. And granted, a lot of people in that party don't use anything but their cell phones. They don't think about it individually, them being attacked, because they
Hmm.
don't think about that. But they don't understand that these attacks go into the water system. Like in
Yeah.
Florida, there
Like in
was somebody
Florida.
trying to
Yep.
poison the water.
Yeah, that is so scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that can
Holy
happen
shit. That and
anywhere.
the only way that that attack got caught was because the guy who was supposed to be manning that system just happened to be looking at his monitor while his mouse started moving around, and he was like, what the fuck, I'm not moving my mouse right now. And then he quickly shut down the system.
Mm.
But like if the guy was literally just looking away at his phone, at his coffee cup, like that's how that it would have
Yeah,
worked, which is
yeah.
like that is not security, that was pure luck.
Imagine how
Right.
many of these systems are already hacked and they're doing a slow death to people. Like they already poisoned the
Yeah.
water and it's taking a long time where people won't feel
Oh,
the
well,
effects
that's
for
the
like
solar winds
years.
attack. Like that
Mm-hmm.
was an attack that happened over the course of years, and it was undetected for years.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, they got access to a lot of um internal federal divisions that they probably planted a lot of, I don't know, just it's like nerve-wracking to think about. This is going to be one of those things that the government just has to do. It's not going to be sexy. But you know what, honestly, I think that's one of Biden's strong points, is that like he tends to get unsexy things done.
Mhm.
And he doesn't seem to care too much about popularity. I feel like it's because he thinks he's going to be a one-term president and like hand it over to Kamala. But you know, who knows? That's just speculation on my part. But I feel like if any president is going to do it in recent history, it might actually be Biden. And he's trying, because
Yes.
he just passed an executive order. So I guess
Yes.
we should give him a little bit of credit.
Yeah.
But they're not very strong. As soon as the next president comes in, they can be undone
Yeah.
with the wave of a signature.
Yep. And
This
apparently they're prepping. The other party's prepping to bring Trump back. They've already announced they're prepping to bring him back.
Like,
Oh God. Okay. All right. All right.
They're
Well,
firing people in their party that are against Trump right now, so they can bring him back.
Liz Cheney. Yeah.
I know it's so
Um,
wild.
it's been a heavily political news day for us today.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
been.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And before we
Geeky.
close out, I just wanted to say something to our fans that follow us as well. I had an irresponsibility as a host and not being prepared for the conversation earlier, and that's not going to happen again.
No.
Because I shortchanged the conversation, and I shortchanged the people that pay attention to us as well. If I'm not as all in as everybody else is, so I just want to acknowledge that, and that will be fixed.
Don't say that. That
Don't
is
say
totally
that.
unnecessary.
Yeah, you
I'm
didn't
winging
do
it
that.
literally every day.
You didn't do that every day.
You don't have to explain.
You come through.
You
You're the
don't have to tell
champ.
it.
You're a champ in this.
Yeah. And
You're a champ.
also, like, like I said before, there is no requirement of like a knowledge base to just like have an opinion on big things that we're all definitely informed on and you are credible to speak on. So appreciate it, but that is just not necessary now. You got it.
Yeah.
But thank you all for tuning in today. That concludes the news and political segment of our show for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Shout out to Digital Click. We see you in the chat. We appreciate your presence and the artwork that you provide us. Please follow us here on Twitch if you haven't done so already. And if you love what we're doing, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you have Amazon Prime, you can link it to Prime Gaming and then subscribe to us for free. It costs you nothing, but it helps us out a ton. So, guys, can we bring in Randy and Courtney for Bingeworthy?
Squad.
Or cross-talk/cross chaos to Bingeworthy.
So we got Randy. Courtney's not here yet.
Oh, Courtney. Randy, I got a question for you. How much do you think we should punish Syntell for not reading the news before?
Nah, man, Syntell, he knows everything, man. He's always on his game.
You're so sweet and so nice, and you're just like apologizing for shit. You do not have to apologize.
And man, you shouldn't have said anything. Nobody would have noticed if you hadn't said anything.
That is true. That is true. And do not.
Rule number one is like never admit your mistakes. Just keep on moving because you bring more attention to it by saying it.
Yeah, man. I mean, like you if you do that, then you expose the rest of us because I'm hopping on every day or not reading. I'm just kidding. We're qualified friends. Okay. Randy, what are you guys talking about today on Bingeworthy?
We talking about Invincible.
It's so
good.
Okay.
I heard a lot of different things about it. Okay, I heard so good. That's good. Can you guys give me Courtney? I love your abode. It's looking really, really decadent in your background right now. Sorry. Courtney's interior designs are distracting me, guys. Like,
wait, what?
Right, because last week it was the kitchen. Last week.
Remember last week? I was like trying to bring it to something geeky, and I was like, I'm talking about Marvel now. Let's talk about Marvel.
Right.
Now we got libraries in the background. It looks very
you know what I mean?
back
I'm
there.
doing. I can't. I'm trying to keep it classy. Trying to keep it classy over here.
You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job.
How y'all doing?
Doing
We're
well.
Good. We're doing good.
Doing good.
Yeah. You ready to talk about Invincibles? I heard you guys got opinions on that one.
I'm ready.
There are a lot of
opinions. I think fired up. No, nothing really.
Yeah.
No, I think it's gonna be a great conversation, man. This is an interesting series. This is an interesting series.
Okay, can someone give? Go ahead, Chuck.
I know nobody knows on this, but Randy's leading this conversation today for Bingeworthy.
Including Randy, apparently.
Randy knew. He's been through this.
You ain't supposed to tell.
Randy
I just said you don't tell if people don't know stuff. So when I say, you go with it. You go with it.
Yo, I'm really about to get a bowl of popcorn and get my Han on for real today, boy. I'm about to enjoy this.
I was like, Randy, you ready? He's like, yeah, I'm ready. Like, okay.
Randy instead was like, oh.
Am I?
Word.
All right, guys. I want to give the people in a chat a little bit of a teaser of what's to come. So can you guys give me just like a little bit of snippet? Don't give away too much of your opinions. We want them to stay. But give me something to share with the chat right now that's going to keep them hooked to stay and watch your opinions.
Unlike a lot of the other superhero tropes, this one takes a different turn regarding your favorite superhero, the Superman trope. And if you want to see something kind of like turned on its head or looked at it from a totally different way, Invincible is a very good property to invest yourself in, so you can get a different type of storytelling.
Okay, would you say that it's like kind of like Watchmen or The Boys kind of perspective, where it's like the almost like anti-hero, the bad superhero? Is that where the vibes are on this one?
It can be. Yeah, please.
I feel like it takes everything you think you know about team ups, like the Justice League teams versus, you know, like your major superhero, i.e. Superman or i.e. Batman, which are known to be like singular properties, you know, solo acts. And it flips everything you know about the dynamic of teams, because, you know, in all the other animated series, you know, the teams are generally always in unison. They have one united goal. And this puts you on the path of like actual humanity and these humans that are dealing with the concepts of having powers and still having egos. So,
And in
yeah,
addition,
I mean,
to that,
that's
there
my
are
take.
yeah, and in addition to that, there are some kick-ass action scenes. So
Yes.
if you want to see some
Yes.
action,
Alright.
some fun,
I do
even
love
some
that.
gruesome type of shit, like you need to turn in to
Okay.
Yeah, it's like,
Invincibles and come back and listen to this discussion.
you know,
Okay.
it's like Justice League meets Family Guy or American Dad.
Oh,
Chicken fight, right?
yeah,
The chicken
that's
fight with
good.
Peter and the chicken.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
good.
Like,
When it's
I mean,
lighthearted, it is very lighthearted. It's
it's
very
very
lighthearted.
lighthearted,
Okay.
but it is
It's dark.
intense.
intense.
It's lighthearted, but it's dark. Because
No,
I've heard both.
it has like that light. It has certain elements of lightness, but then it has this intense adult darkness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
complicated.
The
It's
conversations are
Sounds
kind of light,
complicated.
but the conflicts are really dark.
The
That's a
conflict
great
Okay.
way. That's it right there.
super dark. Yeah, that's what it
it
is.
right there.
Yeah.
Yep. The
Yeah.
conversations are light, and then the resolution.
Okay. This is definitely super intriguing. All right, because I heard both things from different people. I like hearing that there's a lot of good action because you know
Oh yeah, great action.
we like
yeah.
to see shit smash sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And it's a great homage to the comics, because a lot of times you see series that are derived from a comic book property, and then there's no remnant of that property in the show that you're watching. And as someone who's read like the first 70 issues of the comic, I have not finished it yet. It's kind of spot on.
Okay. All right. I like
let me
this.
add one more small piece. Like, for anybody that just doesn't know anything about it whatsoever, if you're a fan of The Walking Dead, the original creator of the comic book The Walking Dead is the original creator of Invincible as well.
Oh,
Right,
is it
Robert
Skybound?
Yeah, they do
Robert-
not
yeah,
share the
Robert-
same
no.
world by no
Image.
means, but
Image,
yeah,
yeah.
Image is the house that holds the comic. Yeah, and the voice actors in it are pretty well known.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, like Sandra
Yeah.
Oh is my favorite voice actor on there. She plays the mom. She's just out of
Yes.
this
love her.
world.
And J.K.
Like,
Simmons.
Yeah,
You
J.K.
know, you know him
Simmons.
as a what is it, Commissioner
the
Gordon?
farmers guy. We are farmers.
I actually remember him from
Really?
Oz. Do you all remember
From
Oz?
Oz. He
played
was
in
in
Oz.
Yeah.
he was in Korra, the Last Airbender.
Yeah, Legend of
Yeah.
Korra.
Yeah,
Who
the
was
Legend of
he in
Korra.
Korra?
She was the
He was
the
Tenzin. Was he
last-
Tenzin?
Yeah,
Ooh,
Tenzin.
Tenzin's a
Tenzin.
good one. Tenzin's
Yeah.
so lame, but also so lovable. I love that. character.
Zazie Beats, if you're a fan of her. I know some people, it's a niche group of people that like Zazie.
I like Zazie.
Look,
I'm all
look
about
at that switch.
Zazie. I'm all about
Okay.
We had a
Zazie.
very interesting conversation about Zazie,
Yeah.
and they know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. We gonna definitely
Oh, yeah,
show.
we're
We're gonna have a
But
definitely interesting conversation of this particular character that Zazie voices versus the comic book version of the character, and I think that to me is what I'm most excited about getting into that conversation. So
Okay.
So with all
I
that
like
being
that.
said, there's something that you can connect to if you don't know
Yeah.
anything about the story whatsoever between those voice actors and the creator of the
Yeah.
comic.
Oh, and
itself.
Stephen Yun.
Stephen Yun,
Ewan?
yeah.
Ewan?
Yeah.
He
I
plays
think
the
I say
voice
his
of
last
the
name.
character. I thought
Damn,
it
that's
was
an all
Wen,
star cast.
but I may be
I think
wrong.
it's Yun.
They have
Yun.
okay.
I think it's Yun.
they have Jason Mantzoukas in it too.
But Stephen Young plays the lead.
Lead
He is
character.
invincible.
He does a
Yeah,
pretty
the
good
main
job too.
character.
He does
He
a great
does.
He does a
job.
pretty decent job.
Like, all right, I feel like that
Sandra Oh,
is
she kills it.
plenty to keep everybody
He
hooked.
does.
Is by the creators of The Walking Dead. It is dark but light at the same time. A lot of kick-ass action, and it sounds like a super kick-ass cast of voice actor stars behind it. All right. Well, if that doesn't intrigue you guys, I don't know what will. Stay tuned in the chat. We're gonna hop down for a second and be right back up for Bingeworthy. Don't go anywhere. I'll see you guys on Friday, I think, and I will be watching you guys from the chat. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.